welcome to another episode of Just an Afterthought. I am one of your hosts, Bree Valentina, aka a scroll in disguise.
And I am another one of your hosts, Jimmie Smalls, also known as a flirkin.
A flirkin. That sounds like a curse word.
It sounds like a curse word, doesn't it?
I don't want to say like Norwegian, but kind of.
That's
some
fair.
Sort of
That's
like
fair.
that region, like that sort
so
that
like
no. Yeah, like that region. I don't know what that
was. It be like north, like East Europe?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I'm not good at geography.
I feel like we'd have to pull out a map.
Yeah, I don't have a map to pull out, and the one I do have is of the United States, so that's not going to help me.
Yeah.
At all.
Even though we have like
today,
2 working cell phones.
We have 2 working cell phones and a computer set up, but I just don't want to look it up.
It's fine.
It's good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about Captain Marvel.
Ooh.
The movie. So I'm just going to jump in. I'm going to give some, facts, some quick synopsis of what's going on. So Captain Marvel, it came out in 2019, and it is an American superhero film based on the Marvel comic book character of Captain Marvel, also known as Carol Danvers. Was produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures, and it is the 21st film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Okay.
But it's second in the timeline.
Yes.
But depending on who you ask.
Really, though, because like we've been doing a couple Google searches and a lot of people have a lot of different opinions. Yeah.
And we'll get into that in a little bit on why some people don't think that it should be counted in the timeline chronologically until like the very end.
Oh.
But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
The film was written and directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, with Nicole Perlman, Meg LaFauve, and Geneva Robinson Duarte, also contributing to the screenplay.
Okay.
And then we have Brie Larson as Captain Carol Danvers, or Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. And the film also stars Samuel L. Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn. Is it Jimon Hunso?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Lee Pace, Lashana Lynch, Gemma Chan, Annette Bening, Clark Gregg, and Jude Law. And then just a quick brief Wikipedia synopsis for you. The movie's set in 1995, and it follows the story of Carol Danvers as she becomes Captain Marvel after Earth is caught in the center of a galactic conflict between 2 alien civilizations. So there you go. If you haven't seen it, now you have not seen it still, but now you know what the story's about.
If you don't know, now you still kind of don't know.
Yeah. I was going to quote Hamilton, if you don't know, and now you know, Mr. President. But anyway, enough about Hamilton. So some facts. I have some facts for you. And you have facts for me.
I do.
Right?
Yes.
You're like, I think. I don't know. So I found out, and I didn't realize this when we were watching the movie, but they never officially call her Captain Marvel throughout the whole movie. She's not like Captain. She's not officially named Captain Marvel.
She hasn't assumed the position.
Assume the position. But it isn't until the end credits that it's Captain Marvel.
Spoilers.
Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And then, I didn't know that Shazam from DC is technically also known as Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
but
I feel like that was a struggle for a while in the comics.
Well, yeah, but so after a lengthy legal proceeding, which I found out, Marvel won the the rights for Captain Marvel. But in order to retain their copyright, they were required to publish Captain Marvel comic books. And with Captain Marvel, I guess, not being a popular money-making character, they fulfilled the requirement by publishing a series of one-off comic books over a series of years.
Okay.
And then there was a part of the deal where DC was not allowed to use the same character name on any covers. So that's why Shazam... that's why he's technically... Billy Batson is technically known as Shazam because of the catchphrase that he says when he
to activate
transforms.
His powers. Yeah,
to activate his powers. And I guess it's also the name of his mentor.
Okay.
But I think nowadays, the DC, they just call him Shazam. I don't think they refer to him as Captain Marvel at all.
Yeah, I think it's just easier. It's just like, he's Shazam.
Especially too with the movie. He has that big old
lightning bolt, I think, if I remember correctly, on his chest as well. So like, it looks like an S. So I feel like it's all around just easier.
Yeah, he does. He does have a lightning bolt.
I don't know if it looks like an S, but like lightning bolts normally look like S's, so it's just better that way, I feel.
Yeah. It does not look. It does. It looks like a lightning bolt. Okay. For sure. I don't think it looks like an S. They're not pulling.
I'm not a DC person, so
I am. So that was fun for me to find.
For me, I'm like, it's either Shazam or Harry Potter. So take your poison.
Shazam.
Could you imagine if Harry Potter like had to activate his powers by just saying like Harry Potter or like Shazam?
He's like expecto patronum, and then he's a wizard.
He has like a deer horn. Sorry.
Side note. Okay, don't hate on me. And this has nothing to do with Captain Marvel. It has everything to do with Harry Potter.
Okay.
I have never fully seen all of the movies. I've been to Harry Potter Land or World at Universal Studios Hollywood, and I've seen bits and pieces of the first movie. I've seen maybe like halfway through the first movie, and I've seen clips from all the other ones.
Oh my god!
But I've not seen a full Harry Potter movie.
Have you read the books?
I read chapter 1 of the first book. But the thing is I read chapter 1 of the first book, and it was on my iPad. And because Harry Potter is such a like thick book, I was like, this is gonna take forever. This is gonna take forever. Okay. So I was like, I can't do this anymore.
I'll judge you later. We have so many more movies to go through, but we are getting to Harry Potter because you have to watch them.
I want to. That's the thing. I want to watch them, and everyone goes, oh, I don't want to sit down and watch them because they're really long.
I will watch them with you.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe because, I feel like everybody's heard, said, and done Harry Potter. Like, maybe we can just have our own, like, little marathon of Harry Potter and then just do one episode just for Harry Potter.
I'm honestly down.
Okay. I'm
honestly down. That'd be fun. Because, yeah, I don't want to spend, like, I feel like it's Harry Potter, like, it's such a thick movie franchise where, like, yeah, Marvel is thick, but they have several different movies where you can kind of jump in and out. I feel like with Harry Potter, you kind of have to watch them all in order to kind of understand what's going on.
A little bit.
Yeah. Whereas Marvel, I feel like you can kind of just jump in and out and still be okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun fact, I haven't watched all of them. But you know what book to movie franchise I have seen all of and have read all the books?
What?
Twilight.
Well, that's also going to be another time. But
yes,
back to
Captain Marvel. One last fact for you.
Okay.
And we talked about this before you give me your facts. But we talked about this when we were watching the movie, and then I had brought this up that I thought it was funny that the cat was named Goose because of Top Gun, and she's a pilot in the Air Force. And you said, yeah, that's in the comics. However, in the comics, her cat is named Chewie after Chewbacca.
Really?
Yes.
I thought it was always Goose.
maybe they changed it recently, but
Afterwards?
afterwards. But the fact I found was that Captain Marvel's cat is named Chewie in the comics.
Okay.
But who knows? It could be that maybe after Top Gun came out, they're like, oh, this is perfect, so let's just use Goose.
Interesting.
Because Top Gun came out in 1986, and Episode 4, A New Hope, which is, I guess, the movie that they decided to name like Chewie after that Chewie, I guess, came out in 1977.
Okay.
So maybe after Top Gun, they said, oh, well, we like Goose, and it fits because he's an Air Force pilot, and she's an Air Force pilot. So go ahead and give me your facts.
My facts. Let's see here. Okay. My favorite one that I researched actually while watching the movie with you was that in one of the original scripts, they wanted Carol to punch a dinosaur instead of an old lady.
Oh, the old lady that she fights on the train.
Yeah. So on the train, spoiling the scene, on the train, Verse is what they call her until she figures out her identity again. Is searching for a scroll on a, like, he gets away on a train and she's like going through like the cars, like looking for him, and like hops up on this old lady and she's just like smiling at her, and like homegirl like decks her in the face like hard. Like, it was so funny. Everyone on the train goes, ooh, and like you feel that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, but
although I will say in that scene, I thought if you just saw a random lady beat up an old lady for no reason, I feel like your reaction would be much more like, what the hell? Like much more extreme.
Yeah.
Whereas theirs was like, ooh, this should be on World Star, even though this is 1995 and World Star is not a thing. Ooh, like, oh, that sucks. Like, ooh. And then like when they were holding her back, I was like, okay, you saw this old lady flip around that subway pole, that train pole. There's no way that you would be holding I would hold back the old lady from this girl, and not the other way around.
Maybe. I don't know. I guess I'd have to experience it.
I'd have to experience a fight with an elderly woman myself.
Yes. But yeah, They originally wanted her to punch a dinosaur because in the comics, she punches a T-Rex in the face. And they were like, well, that would have been too hard to try to like, how are we going to put a dinosaur into this kind of scene and everything like that? So who knows what the original script looked like? But a lot of the writers, because there was a few writers who worked on this, a few of them wanted her to punch a dinosaur. So hopefully maybe in the sequel or in one of the, phase movies that she's in where they bring them all together, she can actually punch a dinosaur, because I'd love to see that.
That'd be cool.
Right?
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Ooh, ow, I just hit the table.
Are you okay?
That would be, yeah, I'm good. That was my own fault. I was drinking some water. But I was going to say that would be cool if, because Chris Pratt plays somebody in Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah,
like some weird crossover
where he's make like a reference, like in the next like Avengers like ensemble movie.
Yeah, like oh, you look like you look really familiar. Like you look like this T-Rex or this dinosaur trainer that I knew.
Marvel, that'd be hire
cool. Her. Please do. First things first, I'd get rid of a lot of. No, I'm just kidding.
My other fact that I truly adore, and it's kind of holds a special place in my heart. This has to do more with Nick Fury, because we were talking about this while watching the movie too. Originally in the comics, like the original Nick Fury in the comics is white. And back in like, I want to say, back in like the kind of like the early 2000s or so, Marvel started doing kind of a parallel universe in their in a comic series called the Ultimate Universe. And in that universe, the storylines of a lot of the main character, a lot of the like big characters and a lot of like superheroes that are different. One of them being Nick Fury, who was black. And the writers at the time actually went to Samuel L. Jackson and asked if they could use his likeness for their Nick Fury character. And Samuel Jackson, one, being a huge ass nerd, and two, like, I feel like anyone just, referencing his likeness, he's like, yeah, no, go for it. Like, I don't give a fuck. Was like, yeah, no, please do. I'd love to see that. And they made him basically Nick Fury in the comics. And when they were getting everything together to start Iron Man and they were thinking about planning, the cinematic universe, Nick Fury was like one of the first people they called and was like, or Nick Fury, see, I've already Samuel Jackson.
They're like, Nick Fury, we need you to play Nick Fury.
Please. Nick Fury, we need you to play Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, that would be sick.
That would be
that is the true plot twist.
That's the T.
He was always Nick Fury. He was never Samuel L. Jackson.
But they called Samuel Jackson and they were like, hey, we want to plan this thing. And they explained to him what they were working on. They're like, will you be our Nick Fury? And he was like, I'm in. So it felt like a Avengers Initiative moment, calling up Samuel L. Jackson like that, which is really, really cool. And now he's been in like dozens of these movies. And honestly, I feel like he's kind of the thread that like held up the first 3 phases. And
I was going to say that he's the glue. He's the
really
glue
is.
that held the movie together.
So yeah, that's one of my favorite facts. I know a lot of people know that, but some people don't. So it's one of my favorite things to share.
I want to share something.
Yeah.
Because we talked about this when we were watching the movie. Because we were both looking up stars because we were like, oh, this person looks familiar and that person looks familiar and whatnot. My favorite thing, and this is probably so silly, is that Brie Larson, her first name is Brienne.
Oh yeah.
And I love that because my first name is Brienne. And we both go by Brie. And what I like about that, and people might go like, that's kind of silly, but there's not a lot of, I don't know a whole lot of Briennes. Like I feel like Brienne is like a rare name.
Yeah.
Especially like the way I spell it, which is Breanne, and she spells hers Brieanne.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool too, is basically we have pretty much the same spelling, just one letter off.
Just one vowel.
Just one vowel off. So.
Yeah. No. Yeah, like, because I know a lot of, like, Briannas. I know a lot of Brianna.
Yeah, it's usually... Sorry, her name is Brianne. But she shortens it to Brie, like the cheese, Brie. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. When I know a lot of Bries, like, I knew a Brie and her name was Sabrina. Which was... I had never heard Brie be used as a nickname for Sabrina. So I was like, oh, that's interesting.
The closest is probably, like, Gabrielle. And they go by Brie.
Oh, I haven't even heard it for that, but
yeah,
usually it's Brianna. You're right, Brielle. So like to have another Brienne is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Although her name has an I in it, so I understand the justification for her spelling the way that her name Brie. Mm-hmm. My name does not have any I in it. It's 2 E's. So I use Bree. But everyone spells it Brie. Like family friends I've known for years. I told them once, oh yeah, it's Bree. And forever and always, they always spell it like the cheese. And I'm like, that's not my name. So.
Even though there's nothing wrong being compared to cheese, I feel.
Well. No, yes and no. I like cheese, so there's nothing wrong with it. But if they're calling you stinky, like cheese,
people like stinky cheese.
Yeah, but do you as a person want to be referred to as a stinky cheese?
Okay, if it was a stinky cheese, I don't know, maybe. But if it was just stinky, then no.
Yeah,
because like it's like that TikTok. It's like the TikToks where it's like, you'll never be as famous as like cheese. It's so true.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I even saw someone looked up like searches for celebrities compared to cheese, and cheese still won out between like David Dobrik and like whoever the hell else is popular right now.
People love cheese.
People do love cheese. I love
unless
cheese.
You're lactose intolerant. I love cheese.
I know lactose intolerant people who
but they still
like
eat cheese. Yeah.
So
I mean, like you might not have a great relationship with cheese if you're lactose intolerant, but I mean, you still.
You could say their relationship is runny.
Oh, that's really cheesy of you.
I think we should move on before we just scare everyone away.
We should. So getting down to the meat of it all. What was your opinion on the movie?
Oh, let's see. I it's a mixed bag for me. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was really fun, and I loved the energy in the film. Um, I like Brie Larson's interpretation of the character and like the developing of Captain Marvel. But there were some lulls for me. And though I was distracted by other things in the film, whether it be like the music or just kind of like the dynamic, the lull still kind of caught my attention. So, and I don't think that's any of like the actors' fault or even like the directors.
Would you say it's just pacing?
Yeah.
There were times where the pacing was just kind of off?
Yeah.
Okay. But so overall mixed bag.
Yeah.
It was good, but it could have been better.
Yeah. And I know I've told you this before, and I've said this a lot to anyone who talks to me about anything Marvel. Like, Brie Larson wasn't my first choice for Captain Marvel. I was really hoping for Charlize Theron. I was hoping they went like a little bit older and a little more, seasoned, I guess, as like an actress goes. But I understand why they went with Brie for the story that they were telling, and it makes more sense that way. But
I mean, I don't have an opinion on who should play Captain Marvel because I'm not familiar with her character. Like this movie was kind of my first introduction to her. But I could see why you would want like Charlize Theron as Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. Has she been in a Marvel movie?
She has not. That's why I think a lot of fans were hoping for her to finally make her Marvel debut.
Her Marvel debut, yeah.
I don't know if she is kind of over the whole sci-fi superhero kind of thing, or like superhero specifically, aren't her thing. But
has she been in?
The closest thing I can think of is what's that one movie? Hancock. She was in Hancock.
Oh, that's been a while since I've seen that movie, so I can't.
And then the next closest thing to anything Marvel related, at least like, sci-fi and like that, would probably be like, I know she did Alien, one of the Alien movies.
Oh, okay.
But as for like superhero movies, no, I don't think she's done anything like that.
I was gonna say she's more of like a drama actress where she does like she did Bombshell
she kind of goes for like the regal when it comes to like those kind of things, like fantasy. She looks for more of like the regal kind of roles. So
fantasy or more like real. I don't want to say real life, but like real life stories, I guess.
Yeah, I get you.
More dramatization stuff than anything. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, Fury Road, Mad Max. That's probably the next closest.
I forgot. Yeah.
But,
I forgot she was in that movie.
That's about it.
So my opinion on the movie. So this was the second time I'd seen this film. And unlike with Captain America, I think maybe because the movie only came out last year, which is crazy to me. It came out early last year, right? Like beginning of the year, because it's crazy to me that Avengers also came out last year, the last one. But I think because it's so much, it's newer, it's fresher in my mind than Captain America. I remembered more to the story. But what was I saying? So this being my second time watching it, I enjoyed it more this time around than the first time. Because the first time, I kind of went in with some biases. I worked with some Marvel fanboys who didn't really care for the movie a whole lot. Didn't really care. It could have, I don't know why they didn't care for it. I think they were just kind of nitpicky and they just didn't really enjoy the movie.
That's fair.
I will say, I think one of their comments was that it was a little bit too like feministy for them. I didn't feel that way the first time around. I think because of I had preconceived notions. I was like, oh yeah, I could see where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really feel that way watching it again.
Yeah.
That it was really like that. But it was, I enjoyed it more this time around. Were there times where I felt scenes could have been a little bit longer? Absolutely. Like the end fight scene between her and Jude Law, I thought could have been longer. Where he's like, come on, fight me hand to hand. Like we've been training. It would have been fun to see her fight him hand to hand just for a little bit. And then her be like, you know what, after he taunts her, be like, you know what, I don't need to deal with this. I don't really need to fight you hand to hand. I'm just trying to give you some sort of real fight, semblance of a real fight. That would have been cool to see. But, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really liked the movie. It was fun. I liked the music in it. I liked the reference it, like Blockbuster, and the phones and the thing, stuff like that. Yeah, Radio Shack, and it was like, oh, I remember those things. I remember when Radio Shack was a thing. Blockbuster.
I do that.
I remember that. But that was fun. What I really enjoyed, and we talked about this yesterday when we watched it. I really enjoyed the fact that it was really like a Nick Fury origin story.
Yeah, that was also kind of like slowly, softly put in there too, which I appreciated.
Yeah. And, I really enjoyed, and Samuel L. Jackson said that like this Nick Fury is one that's not, I guess, kind of jaded with like bureaucracy, and he's not like fed up. I think that's what I like too, is we see a different side of Nick Fury where he's not the director. He's just Agent Fury. He's, he's a little goofy and he plays with the cat, and, you see a more fun side to him.
Yeah.
And it's not like it was nice to see that instead of seeing always serious, it's go time. Who do you think you're talking to?
Always keep one eye open.
Yeah, it was fun to see, to see a different side of Nick Fury, and then to kind of see, what he'll eventually become.
Mm-hmm.
But to see kind of his origins was pretty cool.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's, I think, really what I liked, and the fact that this was Stan Lee's last Marvel movie.
Stan the man.
Yeah, I think that was such. That's also, I think, why I like this movie. Mm-hmm. Is it my favorite? No, but it had its moments where I was like, oh,
it was a beautiful kind of like, Stan Lee stood for so much for people who are marginalized, and he put a lot of those stories in his comics. And I think for this especially, it was nice to have a nice, fun movie that had some of these messages that he stood for, and to send him off and tribute him with that, which is really,
and really cool. And even the tribute in the beginning was nice.
The intro, the Marvel logo.
Yeah.
With all his like,
where it wasn't just the comic books. Yeah, it wasn't just the comic books. It was him.
Mm-hmm.
And then thank you, Stan. I think that was probably one of my more favorite moments of this movie.
Yeah. Was
that tribute to him.
But yeah, I did actually want to go back to what you were saying a little bit earlier about this, about a lot of people worrying about the feminist tones of the movie.
Yeah.
I definitely, as a man,
yeah,
but also as a queer man, like, yes, we should support those things no matter what. Mm-hmm. And the directors and actors who want to go against the grain, and especially for the people who want to fight that. But like, I definitely agree that this wasn't a feminist movie. Like it really wasn't. It's funny. I was talking to a friend, and that's what kind of reminded me of what you were saying. They literally asked me, they were like, why do people hate on Brie Larson? And I told them, I was like, people, especially, cis hetero men, don't like when women and other people to tell them to stop hating women.
Yeah.
And I think
no, go ahead. Sorry, I'll after.
And I think Brie Larson is one of those people. And she doesn't have to say it in her movies because that's just the presence she carries. And I know she looks for roles that exemplify that and not necessarily have to, put it in dialogue. But I think that's why people were just so put off with this movie, because even in interviews, she doesn't deal with the uncomfortability of people being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like she's not afraid to fight those conversations and have that dialogue with people because it needs to be had. And I think people took that out on her movie.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like that was because of what her own personal politics. I feel like that's why they let it bleed into the movie instead of just enjoying it as a separate thing apart from her. Yes, she's in the movie, but I don't think that, personally you should let somebody.
Yeah, like it wasn't like she was walking around like just like men ain't shit, She had standards and she held herself to those standards, even in the film. And that's what I mean about like such a mixed bag, because even though like her performance wasn't what I wanted it to be, it was still a performance and it was still strong choices. And you could still relate to those choices.
Yeah. And I think too, with the Marvel fan boys that I worked with, I think too, they were letting like her, I think it was a little bit of like, oh, we don't like her as an actress, so we're not going to really care for the movie. Whereas I had other Marvel fans who were girls who liked, or women who liked Brie Larson as an actress and liked the movie more. So I think too, when you have preferences on whether or not you like an actor is going to also add to your own personal bias on whether or not you're going to like the movie. Like kind of going back, like what we talked about in the last podcast, you thought I hate Sebastian Stan. I don't. But I could see where somebody that really did hate Sebastian Stan or really didn't care for him as an actor might not like the movie because he's in it, or because they already had a personal opinion and bias on him. Same thing would be for Chris Evans too. If somebody really didn't like Chris Evans, they probably really wouldn't like the Captain America movies because they don't care for Chris Evans. Regardless, they let their own like personal bias bleed into them just separating actor from character and enjoy the film.
Agree.
But yeah. Which is a shame.
Also the other thing. Yeah. It is. It sucks. But sorry. The other thing that I wanted to reply to, but I didn't want to interrupt you, was
no, you're good.
I feel like that like battle between the like good versus evil battle that like you wanted to see, I feel like that kind of happened when she was talking to the Supreme Intelligence.
Yeah.
Because she has that moment where she has to like basically fight her own brain, even though, is being taken over. But she has to fight this like entity that one presents itself as a woman, and a woman she respects and adores and, adheres to. And two, that has everything that she's against, all these ideals and norms that she finds out that she's not for. She realizes again that she's not for and has to fight that. So I think by the time she fights. I always forget Jude Law's character's name.
We'll just call him Jude Law.
Sorry, what?
I was just gonna say she fights Jude Law. I could never remember. I was calling him Jude Law the whole time.
It's all good. But by the time she gets to that point, she's kind of already proven to herself, that like she's overcome. So she doesn't especially have to prove it to this chump of a chump.
This stinky guy.
So that's, I mean, like not to disagree with you. Like I definitely would have loved to see it. Like it would have been cool.
And I totally get where you're coming from too, and it's okay. Like I think we are good to agree to disagree, and you're absolutely right on, like, she did have that moment. I just thought it'd be nice to see it because he was quote unquote her like mentor, or quote unquote like he gave her his blood and whatever. Like that would have been cool to see that fight between the two of them specifically. But you're right, we did kind of get it when she was fighting the higher intelligence, whatever the supreme intelligence. We did, when she was fighting that, and the kind of figment of Dr. Lawson, right? Mm-hmm. That was the character's name, Dr. Lawson. So yeah, you're right. We kind of did see it, but I just thought it would be cool to see it.
I mean, I too would have loved to see her kick Jude Law's ass, but yeah, absolutely. Ooh, by the way, for this round of bleeping out my cuss words, can you make them cat noises? Yeah.
Oh, did you like last episode?
I really did. I really did. It's my favorite thing now.
I felt like that was dark humor on my part while I was editing, because we were talking about the sadness of Bucky falling off a train. And I was like, oh, what would make this even better is if I added train noises when you're like,
I appreciate you.
It's a effing sad scene.
I can take
it was a train sound. Yeah. I was like, this is dark, but I like it. Yeah, we can do cats. I think each episode we'll try and do a themed bleep out.
I'm so for it. I hope everyone else enjoys it.
I feel like this episode has been, I feel like this episode has been pretty clean. Should we add some? No, I'm just kidding. Let's not.
No, I have my few in there. I know I said a couple cuss words. You'll find them.
I think too with cuss words, this is just a side note. Like the more, like when you say the F word, like when you first say it, you're like, ooh, you notice when people say it more.
Uh-huh.
And I think like after you say it a couple of times, like you're like, F this, F that. And then you're like, oh yeah. You like don't even recognize when it's
I'm
in
with
it.
that.
But yeah, I'll do that. So we'll have cats. That'll be a little kitty cat sound. Any other things that we want to talk about? Any other? Oh,
I mean, other than the fact that I just want to be a creature that has tentacles in my body that can swallow anything. No,
I do though, because the Captain Marvel, going back to what I talked about in the very, very beginning of this podcast, and the timeline, and how we said it was technically the second one in chronological order.
Oh yeah.
I found an article from cnet.com, so we have a source. Okay. Where they said that Captain Marvel did not belong in chronological order, and they said, "Don't really hear me out. Captain Marvel is the first true, or this is direct quote from this cnet.com, because this is what we used to look up the order. We looked at several different websites, but this is one of them. They said Captain Marvel is the first true origin story, as in she wasn't seen in a Marvel movie previously since 2016's Doctor Strange. But the film also gives fans a new look at agents Nick Fury and Phil Coulson, as well as the Tesseract. If you were following a chronological watch order for your first viewing ever of these MCU films, you'd have so many questions watching the movie right after Captain America's first outing. In the film, Veers takes years to discover her true identity, and by waiting to watch her story with the context and nuance of 18 prior films, you give yourself a treat. It's more fun to bask in the fun of numerous in-jokes, aha moments, and Fury backstory you most likely wouldn't have cared about 17 movies ago. In this order, so the order they gave us, Captain Marvel is a treat you get before the Infinity War prequel that is Thor Ragnarok. And then they say that you should skip the Incredible Hulk. But, however, I kind of disagree. I feel like watching this and then seeing, yes, you would be kind of confused as to how the Tesseract, how the professor got, or the doctor, professor, Dr. Professor Patrick, how she got the Tesseract because Howard Stark had recovered it for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, he like picked it up at the... I thought the old lady dropped it at the bottom of the ocean at the end.
Well, baby, I went down and got it for you. That's a Britney Spears.
I'm so glad we're friends because if y'all don't know that reference, and Bree, don't tell them. You don't deserve to know.
I did. I just did. Wait.
Dang it.
Well, maybe I'll, I don't know. I just did because I said Britney Spears reference.
I missed it. I was trying to stop you before you did, but...
Oh, sorry. Well, it's also another movie reference. So it's two references in one. So you have to figure out both. And we already gave you a clue as to
We're having fun here.
We're having fun. Don't ruin it for us. But now I can't stop thinking about Britney Spears. Anyway.
Neither can I. Like, I always wonder if she's okay. Like,
same.
Save Britney.
Brittany, we hope you're doing good out there.
We love you, Brit.
We love you, Brit. We love you, Britney Spears. Leave Britney alone. I think, you know, it's cool to watch this movie. If you're watching it for the first ever time, I think it's fine where it is because you see Nick Fury as this fun agent, and then you know that by the time we get to Iron Man, he's already, you kind of can guess that he's seen some stuff. He's done some stuff because he pops up at the end of Iron Man, doesn't he?
Because it's like, in that order, it's like, okay, Nick Fury finally sees that there's other life out there. We're not alone. We have to be ready. And then boom, you get dropped into Iron Man, and like the last scene is him like, it's time to join the initiative. Yeah. And you're just kind of like, holy shit.
So yeah,
and there's like 20 something years of what has Nick Fury been doing for the last 23 years getting ready for all this? Like,
well, it's 1995 and 2008, so it wasn't 20 years. Was it? Was that 20 years? That wasn't 20 years.
No, my math is totally off. I was thinking of 2018. You're right.
12. That's 13. 13 years. Still, he's in 13 years. A lot of stuff has happened.
I didn't go to school for math.
Y2K happened.
Right.
So he's seen,
What if Y2K was like an alien thing?
Oh, that would be cool. Maybe Captain Marvel 2 will talk about that. And speaking of Captain Marvel 2, what?
Oh, no, what are you going to say?
No, I was going to segue. Did you see it? Did you see it go by? The segue?
Oh, no,
it said Captain Marvel 2. Oh, okay.
I mean,
well,
we are
it
like
might
50
come back.
miles away from each other, so it took a minute.
It might come back around. That's right. True. That joke doesn't work. It doesn't land as well when you're via FaceTime. What were you gonna say? And then I
totally forgot. So you just go.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say, speaking of Captain Marvel 2, as of the day that we are recording this podcast, Captain Marvel 2 has found its director.
Ooh.
And I found out on Twitter. Today.
The Twitters.
Nia DaCosta.
That sounds familiar.
She sounds familiar. Directing the anticipated reboot of Candyman. Is in early talks to come on as a director of the sequel sequel to Captain Marvel.
That's dope. Good for her.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's officially confirmed, but it's a reported thing.
It's in the talks.
It's in talks. It's in the woodworks.
Usually if it's reported, then 9 times out of 10 it's going to happen. Unless they decide to drop out last minute.
Yeah. Well, she's in, so maybe, who knows? Maybe she'll read the script and be like, I don't know. But it's reported that she's either in talks or has secured the role of the sequel director.
She secured the bag.
Yeah, of the Candyman.
Yep, that's so funny. I'm literally just got on Facebook really fast, and now she was the first person that popped up.
See, it was meant to be.
That's exciting. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and I thought that was perfect too because we were recording this, and I saw that, and I was like, oh, we should talk about that. Just briefly mention it. Briefly pop it up.
It's destiny.
It's destiny calling. You got to be strong.
But yeah,
that's another reference to a song from a movie, a Disney movie. I think I got the lyrics wrong, but if you can guess,
fun. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're doing this, and two, like, it's interesting to go back again, and even if the movie just came out like a year ago, but it's interesting to go back in this order and kind of experience it. Like, I'm really excited for the coming weeks and
viewing
these movies.
One thing I will bring up as we kind of head into the end of the tunnel of this episode, as we get closer to the light at the end of the tunnel of this episode, so our kind of game plan for this is upcoming weeks, we'll be watching the movies. For Halloween, we'll be taking a little bit of a break, like a 2-week break. Jimmy Smalls is going to, he's going to pick a Halloween movie. Hopefully nothing too spooky, scary, because I can't handle it.
We will see.
Oh, and I'm going to pick up my favorite Halloween movie, and we're going to watch those. We're going to talk about them. And then for Christmas, holiday season, we're going to do the same. So there will be some breaks in between here where we will not be watching any Marvel movies. Just as a heads up.
Yeah.
That's the game plan for now.
When you're listening to this, the weeks to come, the few weeks to come.
Yeah. Any closing remarks before we kind of wrap this up?
Always keep one eye open.
Always keep one eye open.
That's it for me.
Be wary of cats, because you never know. They could be a Flurgan. He went that whole movie thinking it was an okay cat. Wasn't going to attack him, and then it did.
No.
I love that part. That was really funny.
Yeah.
And two, when they're on the ship to the other ship where everyone's hiding, and
the base, yeah.
They're like, oh, it's just space turbulence, and he goes, is that really a thing? And the guy goes, no.
He just shakes his head.
He just shakes his head. Oh, I love that. I thought that was good. Good old time. Good old humor. Yeah. But yeah, that is it for this episode. Next episode,
y'all, thank you.
We're going to be getting into probably one of my favorite Marvel movies, Iron Man. And I'm excited. And I think, before we wrap this up, I think that Iron Man is my favorite because of nostalgia.
That's fair.
But we'll see once we get into it next week. So you're going to have to find out next week if my love for Iron Man is due to nostalgia or due to it being one of the better Marvel movies. But who knows? That might be my opinion next week. And then by the time this is all done, I might have a new favorite movie. Which is so very true. So thank you so much for listening for this whole thing. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We hope you have really great rest of your day. I've been your host, Bree Valentina. Oh, great rest of your week. Yeah. Yeah, not just day, week, month, year.
Whenever.
I've been your whatever it is. I've been your host, Bree Valentina.
And I've been your host, Jimmy Smalls.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.